A World Divided. Introduction to the Cold War. The Cold War was a period of geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union. It started after World War II around 1947 and lasted until the early 1990s. Unlike other major wars, there were no large-scale direct military engagements between the two superpowers. However, they constantly challenged each other through propaganda, espionage, proxy wars, and the nuclear arms race. The Cold War divided the world into two main camps, the Western Bloc led by the United States and the Eastern Bloc led by the Soviet Union. Each side sought to spread its ideology and influence across the globe. This competition played out in various arenas, including political, economic, and cultural spheres. The rivalry between the superpowers had a lasting impact on global politics and continues to influence international relations even today. Capitalism versus communism, the ideological battlefield. At the heart of the Cold War was a fundamental clash of ideologies, capitalism and communism. The United States championed capitalism, an economic system based on private ownership and free market principles. The Soviet Union adhered to communism, advocating for a classless society with collective ownership of production. These contrasting ideologies fueled the rivalry, with the US seeking to contain communism and the USSR promoting communist revolutions worldwide. Flashpoints: key events of the Cold War. The Cold War was marked by crises that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. The Berlin blockade from 1948 to 1949 was a defining event. The Soviet Union blocked access to West Berlin. The US responded with the Berlin airlift, supplying West Berlin for over a year. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 was another major crisis. The Soviet Union deployed nuclear missiles in Cuba. This led to a tense 13-day standoff. President Kennedy ordered a naval blockade of Cuba. Khrushchev agreed to remove the missiles in exchange for a US pledge not to invade Cuba. The Cuban Missile Crisis was the closest the world came to nuclear war. Faces of the conflict leaders who shaped the era. The Cold War was a struggle between two superpowers, each led by powerful and influential figures. On the American side, President Harry S. Truman adopted a policy of containment to prevent the spread of communism. He initiated the Marshall Plan, a massive economic aid program to rebuild war-torn Europe and counter Soviet influence. President John F. Kennedy, known for his charisma, faced off against Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Kennedy's firm but measured approach helped avert a nuclear catastrophe. On the Soviet side, Joseph Stalin ruled with an iron fist, transforming the Soviet Union into a totalitarian state. Nikita Khrushchev, Stalin's successor, denounced Stalin's crimes and initiated a period of de-Stalinization. He also engaged in a period of peaceful coexistence with the West, although tensions flared during the Cuban Missile Crisis. These leaders played a pivotal role in shaping the course of the Cold War. Their decisions and actions had far-reaching consequences for their respective countries and the world. Life under the shadow: global and personal impacts of the Cold War. The Cold War was not just a conflict between superpowers, it also had a profound impact on the lives of ordinary people around the world. The constant threat of nuclear war created a climate of fear and uncertainty. The Cold War fueled a global arms race, with both sides amassing vast arsenals of nuclear weapons. This arms race diverted resources from social programs and contributed to economic instability. In the United States, the Cold War led to the rise of McCarthyism, a period of intense anti-communist paranoia. However, the Cold War also spurred technological innovation, particularly in space exploration and computing. The Cold War finally came to an end in the early 1990s with the collapse of the Soviet Union. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 symbolized the end of an era and the triumph of democracy and capitalism over communism. The legacy of the Cold War continues to shape the world today, with lessons about the importance of diplomacy, dialogue, and mutual understanding remaining relevant.